Welcome to the Average Nobodies podcast, the ultimate home for wrestling enthusiasts, beer drinkers, movie quoters, and pop culture connoisseurs. Here are your hosts, Matt and Ryan.
Welcome to the Average Nobodies podcast, number 56 for November 26th, 2017. On today's show, we're chatting about our Thanksgiving holidays and breaking down episode 8.5 of The Walking Dead titled The Big Scary You. You can chat with us on Twitter at Average Nobodies, toss us a like on Facebook at Average Nobodies, and heart all of our pictures on Instagram, also at Average Nobodies. Don't forget, this podcast is available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and YouTube. My name is Ryan, and with me, as always,
Matt Vieira, here.
Hey.
Here.
Hey. Here, you're here. Just like school used to be.
Yes.
You know, I never understood that. Like, the teachers not, like, there weren't that many people in a class. Like, can't you just facially recognize the kids?
Yes. Just look down at your sheet and kind of just like, without having to, I absolutely think. I actually never thought about that before. Very easily could have done roll call without actually having to call out people's names.
I don't understand. It's not like it's a classroom of like 10,000 people.
Yeah, no. Unnecessary. Very unnecessary.
Wasting time. The goddamn teachers.
Yeah.
That's why it's countries in the state that it's in. No, I'm just kidding.
That's the reason. Roll call.
That's what it all boils down to.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking Walking Dead and TV Club, actually last Sunday's episode, since we're doing it on Sunday this week.
Yes.
But before we get into that, figured we'd talk a little bit about our Thanksgiving holidays, and really, I know for at least the two of us, our families are almost like the ideal people watching.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty fantastic, and holidays are always the peak time for that.
Exactly. So for mine, I go to my my auntie and uncles. It's my mom's brother and sister-in-law, and they're actually like right down the street, and they're like a typical like fun couple. Like they have two daughters. One just graduated URI, one's going to Bryant, but they just like love like going out and just having fun and traveling, and so it's a cool spot to be in. And they have a really good house for like holidays because there's like 3 different rooms. So like you don't all have to sit in the same room and talk and like listen to people who want to talk politics or what. So like if you want to go, like me and my dad like to watch football, we'll go into one of those side rooms and watch football. That's perfect.
Yeah.
But you can't escape some of the older relatives. It's just not possible. So I have this great uncle, my grandma's brother, who, in his defense, he's 93.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a different era.
Yeah.
Like 93. I mean, he was born in 1924. Like that's so long ago.
Yes.
And the cool thing with him, well, I guess cool is not the right word, but the thing with him, like just a little background for those of you who don't know my uncle, one of his main talking points and why he thinks the world is in the shape it is because women are allowed in bars. He doesn't believe women should be allowed to drink in bars.
Again, let's just add that to the list. It's roll call in schools, and it's women being allowed in bars.
And drinking. They drink too heavily.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah. They can go if they want, but don't, you can't drink.
Can't drink. Yeah, of course.
Drink.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And it's just such an old, like, it's just like a point of view that we obviously have never had to experience because it's just so out there.
Yeah.
But his new thing is that his mailman is stealing his mail.
Oh.
which is amazing. But the reason why, so my uncle is Italian. The reason why is because the mailman's an Irishman.
Oh, yeah.
And that's such like an old school prejudice, like, there's racism, black against white, and then there's like the Nazism that's for whatever reason making a comeback against Jewish people.
Yeah.
But I do remember, I'll mention something to my grandma about, 'cause Italians are very, very sensitive about their cooking. Like the Italians make the best food. Like my grandma makes the best food, and if someone else's food isn't good, she'll find a reason for it. So this is like a mock example of a conversation. Like I'll come in and I'll say, yeah, like I had dinner at so and so's house. They made this dish, but it wasn't that good. And she goes, oh, what's the last name? And I'll say it, and she goes, oh, Irish.
That's why.
That's why. Just you can't cook, and it's such like a old like. I feel like that prejudice goes back to like when they, different ethnicities were coming to this country.
Yeah.
But it's so funny. So the mailman is stealing his mail because he's an Irishman. You can't trust the Irish, apparently.
Right.
That's something that we still have to deal with in 2017. But that was like the basis of that talk. Luckily, I could escape it and go into a different room, but you can't escape all of it. You hear some of it, and it was hysterical.
Yeah.
So how about you?
Yeah, so I was gonna say the I get the Italian, the old Italian ways and things like that. I get that obviously because both sides of my family are flanked with Italians and Italians who cook, and I know that like this is like the number one conversation that goes on at any dinner table throughout the year, not even just holidays, just throughout the year at an Italian's dinner with like you have like an older, like a grandmother or a great aunt or whatever. It's like, do you want X? Like, do you want this food? No, that's okay, Grandma. I'm full. Okay. And then like 2 minutes later, it's like, do you want this? It's like, no, it's like, it wasn't the food. It's just that I don't want any more of anything. Like I'm just full. That's just what it is. That's how it is. I don't, it's not that I want this food over that food. It's just, I'm full. But they don't get that, and I'm sure you get that as well. That's not a thing.
Oh, no, it's amazing, and it's always my grandma's always the one running around, eat, like waving people down, and then she'll just like stand around and not eat. I'm like, you're eating, like,
yeah, exactly. Or like, so this year I went over Lindy's house first and had like lunch with, and Thanksgiving dinner with her family first, which was a huge mistake. Not like I had a great time and everything, but because I ate like basically a full dinner because I can't help myself and the food was amazing. But then I went over to my parents' house and they had just started eating, and I was like, I was hoping I was gonna come in like while they already started and everything, and like that way I could just kind of like pick and graze and whatever. But then I sat down, my mom put me right next to my grandmother, and she just couldn't understand like the fact that I ate just like a little while ago. Didn't comprehend it. Didn't comprehend it. So I ended up eating 2 full meals. And so I felt like absolute garbage on Thanksgiving. So I ended up on the couch. And luckily, like my family is the, like you were saying, the football watching Thanksgiving people. So I ended up just passing out on the couch. And I woke up like, I don't know, at midnight, like in a stupor. So
just like full of all different kinds of food.
Yeah, like everything. I mean, and everything's so good. Like obviously, it's not that I don't want to eat it. It's that I physically can't put anything else into my body. Like I'm going to die here at the table. Yeah. And like, and it's so funny. Like, we were talking about like people being gluten free and people being vegetarians and whatnot. And that's another thing that's like very foreign to my grandmother. I was explaining, I'm like, can't have gluten, like can't have any like, and I don't even know like some of this like white flour things and things. I don't know exactly what it is. But she was like, oh, but that's all right. It's Italian bread. I'm like, that's not, just because it's Italian bread doesn't mean it's okay to have. Like that's
correct.
It's like that scene from My Big Fat Greek Wedding. It's like when they don't understand that he's his family's a vegetarian. They're vegetarians, and the aunt was like, "That's okay. I'll make lamb." Like she's like, "No, that's not how any of this works."
Exactly. So, my cousin's actually vegan. Like one of my cousins, and it was like the house we went to. So like my auntie and uncle hosted, and one of their daughters is vegan.
Yeah.
So Holly had said, I'm going to text your auntie, see what we can bring. I said, Holly, let's just bring wine. Keep it simple. She's like, no, I'm going to text her. So my auntie sent her a recipe. She's like, oh, can you make a vegan dessert? And like, we don't have any of the stuff. Like you can't use eggs. You can't use
that's tough.
pie crust. You can't use anything. So I was like, I told you just bring wine. Wine is, wine pleases
Universal.
the crowd.
Yeah.
But it's vegan, like it just blows my mind, like how much I guess you get used to it after a while, but like the change must be like shocking at first.
Yeah,
just like what you can't eat, like you can't do eggs, you can't.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that's wild. I couldn't imagine that. I've done like stretches of like not eating meat, not for anything particular, just to see if I could do it, and like that's tough on its own. But, like, never mind if you take, like, eggs away from me and all that. Like, forget that. No way. No. And milk. Like, you can't have milk, right?
Can't have milk.
That's crazy. I don't know what I would do without milk. I drink, like, 2 gallons of skim milk a week.
That's like the opposite. That's a lot of milk.
Yeah, no, I'm very not a vegan. But, yeah, I love milk. But yeah, and of course, like there was many conversations that I will not bring to the podcast that happened at our Thanksgiving table, just like any other holiday. It's the politics, it's the old ways, just like you were talking about. They were from a different time. Some of my family members. So.
And you know what? You can't. Unfortunately, you're not changing them, so you just gotta move on.
Yeah. And then of course you have my brother, which I'm not exactly sure what he wore this Thanksgiving, so I won't discredit him too much this year. But he just kind of like when we have the like holiday meals at our house, it's really nice for me and Mitch because it's always very low key because we don't have that many cousins, and like when it's stuff at our house, it's usually just my grandmother's and my uncle. That's it. So it's very casual. But like now that I'm like, I live with Lindy and like we're in a very serious relationship and whatnot. So when we go to our parents' house, I have to dress up because I'm not just staying at my house. But Mitch still has the luxury of just like wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt to Thanksgiving dinner. And I'm not sure what he wore this year, so I won't say that. But I remember Lindy's first time over my parents' house for Easter. She like got like dressed to the nines for like Easter dinner, which was ridiculous in the first place. And I always make fun of her for it, and we joke around, but Mitch was wearing like he was sitting next to Mitch. She was sitting next to Mitch, and Mitch was wearing sweatpants and a long sleeve t-shirt, which I thought was hilarious.
That's amazing, the contrast, like right next to each other.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so funny. And I think I don't know if it was the first time Mitch met Lindy, but it was one of the first times that she came over and like met my family. So
I feel like that's a good introduction
that was
to Mitch.
Funny. Yeah, and she was like, "You didn't tell me. Like it's very casual." I'm like, I don't know. Like I'm not gonna tell you not to wear. Like if I ever told Lindy not to wear something, she's gonna wear what she wants anyway, right?
Right.
So it's not gonna matter.
Well keep your opinion to yourself.
Exactly. I'm not gonna. So anyway, and also Mitch is weird too. I don't want to get too far off and things. Like Mitch could be wearing like slacks, nice shoes, and like a shirt with a tie one day, and then be wearing sweatpants the next day. So I don't know. Anyway, Ryan, what have you been watching?
So watched earlier in the week, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday. I watched. It's called Long Shot, and I've known the story, but Netflix turned it into like a quick documentary. It's only about like 35 minutes, and it's about this guy who is convicted of murder in Los Angeles, and they like. He doesn't have like a strong alibi, and they're basically just they're in the process of, and this is from I think maybe like 10 years ago or so, but they're in the process of seeing if this should go to trial with like a jury. Mm-hmm. They didn't really have a good alibi because when he got arrested for the murder, they said he committed murder like months ago, and it was based off of an eyewitness account where the eyewitness went to a police sketch artist, and they looked just like the guy, but he's like a bald Latino guy with a mustache.
Yeah, I
mean he's not like he's not the only person in the world who looks like that. So, but they decided it was this guy, and they arrested him, and they were in the process of like seeing if this is going to go to trial, and his defense attorney is like this maniac in a good way for him, and the guy's like, I went to a Dodgers game. Like I was actually at a Dodgers game that day. Like he took his daughter to a Dodgers game, and they tried like reviewing footage from like the game, whatever. Like didn't see anything, couldn't find it, and it just so happened that the game he went to, in his section, they were filming an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh no way!
And they went to Larry David, they went to HBO, and they were like, can we like look at the footage? And there's like multiple angles of like Larry David walking up and down the aisles, and that guy's there.
That's unbelievable.
It got him off.
What?
And like they didn't end up bringing it to trial. It's so cool. It's crazy.
Was that the episode when he brings the hooker to the game because he can use the carpool lane?
All right. You get the carpool lane. Yeah,
that's
awesome.
That episode. Oh my god, that's so funny. Oh my god, what are the chances? Honestly.
Like to one, like he obviously didn't do it. He wasn't there. It ended up being like gang members. And the cool thing is they found the people who actually did it. That's what like I always wonder with those type of things. It's like, oh, cool, this guy is innocent, but this woman still got murdered.
Yeah.
Like somebody killed her, but they did it like to text over a screen at the end, and ended up being like gang members. But yeah, it was wild. Larry David's interviewed in it.
That's cool.
It was really cool. So that's on Netflix. It's called Long Shot. I would recommend that. And then watched a movie that I've been really wanting to see for a while, the Meyerowitz Stories.
Okay.
With Adam Sandler, Ben Stiller, Dustin Hoffman. And it's like a family drama, like comedy drama. And it was okay. It was all right. It was like the way it was put together was different. Like they kind of told each character's story first.
Yep.
Logically. Which was kind of cool. But I don't know. It just kind of ended. Like the ending kind of turned me off a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's interesting all three of them, Sandler, Stiller, and Dustin Hoffman were awesome. So
nice.
I would recommend it just for the acting. I mean, it's not probably going to blow anybody away, but I enjoyed it, and that's also on Netflix. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah, listen to it watching.
Is that a Netflix movie?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
They did it. Netflix bought the rights to it like after it screened at film festivals, and they streamed it. I think it was starting in October. They started streaming it.
Oh, that's cool. I remember seeing it on there. I didn't know if it was a Netflix production. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yep, it was good. And then just kind of watching. I mean, Holly and I watch about a dozen shows a week, so just kind of keeping up on that.
Nice, awesome. So I've been watching this past week. I had kind of like a break in my. I'm kind of been unemployed, half unemployed. I ended my job at Save the Bay, which that ended the end of last week, and then I'm starting my new job tomorrow. But this week, so I had this week pretty much off, and I had Netflix and the world at my disposal to watch anything that I wanted to watch that I haven't seen yet. I could have started The Wire, I could have started Lost, I could have done any of those things, but instead I rewatched the entire series of Breaking Bad. The entire show, front to back. I remember telling you that I started it, and I'm like, there's no way I can do this week. I'm just going to skip to the last season and watch the end. Well, I did that. I finished the end, the last season, and then I started it from the beginning again, and I watched till the beginning of the last season. So that's what I did this week.
I'll tell you what, you may not think it's impressive. It's impressive to me.
Listen, I don't know. I couldn't stop myself. It's like when one episode ended, I'm like, I gotta stop watching this. I should do something else. Watch something new. And I was like, I'll just watch the next show, and I'll watch the next one, and the next one, and the next one until I watched how many episodes there are of Breaking Bad. Watched them all. It's a remarkable show. I'll say this again. I've said it 100 times. It's a remarkable show. It's amazing. So that's where I'm at with that. But I also had to do a little homework for the Make Movies Great Again podcast. Mm-hmm. This week we're watching Jim and Andy, The Great Beyond.
So you guys you're gonna review that?
Yeah, we're gonna we do the movie club where we'll all watch it and then just like talk about it quick. It's not really a full review, but yeah, it was really cool, very very cool. So this is it's the story of Jim Carrey playing Andy Kaufman in the did it come out in 99? The 1999 movie Man on the Moon. It's the story of Andy Kaufman, kind of like I guess it's kind of like a biopic, I guess. I've actually never seen Man on the Moon.
Yeah, it's pretty much a biopic. I mean, It's about it kind of focuses on more of like Kaufman's like adult life and then eventual death.
Yeah.
And so it's not necessarily like a biopic from like birth to death, but it's one of my favorite movies. He's so good in it, and Kaufman's life is just so goddamn insane.
Yeah. Like, just
his whole life was just, like, a big joke. Even his death. Like, people still are convinced he's not dead.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane. So, I really want to see that, the Netflix one, though.
Jim and Andy was awesome. It kind of, it was like a face-on-face interview with Jim Carrey. That was it. Like, they didn't talk to anybody else, except for, it was an interview with Jim Carrey, but spliced in was also footage from the filming of the movie. And what it was they had a film crew, and Jim Carrey doesn't like EPKs, so they're electronic press kits. He doesn't like when he's doing a movie and there's a camera following them around doing it's basically promotion for the producers to show what's going on, what's being filmed and things like that. And then they also can release it in DVD extras, right? All that stuff. Mm-hmm. But he didn't like that. But in this movie, he had the option to. He hired Andy Kaufman's old girlfriend. She's a documentarian. she handled all the filming. Like, he felt comfortable with her there because he the whole time was in character as Andy Kaufman. It was remarkable. It was amazing. So he didn't mind having her around, like, filming it and everything. But it was a wild look into this filming of this movie and how Jim Carrey, like, stayed in character basically the entire time they were filming this movie. It was crazy.
Just from watching the trailer of it, like, it must have been tough on the crew.
Yeah, definitely. It was tough on the crew. It was tough on the director. Yeah, it was really tough. And the director, his name escapes me, but he was the director who did One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. So he's an Academy Award-winning director, and he was like really almost having breakdowns daily on set with Jim Carrey. It was wild stuff. So anyway,
Milo Forman.
Yeah. So definitely, I highly recommend that. Check that out. I also highly recommend Breaking Bad. So check that out as well if you haven't seen it, or if you have, watch it again.
Right. It holds up. You don't have to worry about that.
It absolutely holds up. All right, let's get into TV Club. So this week we're talking about last week's, and right now, or in a little while, the new episode of Walking Dead is beginning. But we will not be talking about that. We're going to be talking about episode 8.5, The Big Scary You.
We are this. So a little bit of background on the people behind the camera. By Michael Satrazemis. He's done 10 episodes of The Walking Dead. Co-written by David Leslie Johnson and Angela Kang. Respectively, David Johnson has written 5. Angela Kang has written 18 episodes. So she's got some serious veterans here, especially Angela Kang. And going back through some of the episodes that Angela Kang wrote, she's written some of the best, like, not standalone, but kind of very heavy character-driven episodes, which makes sense when you see how, in my opinion, how well they covered Negan in this episode.
Yeah.
So before we get into it, what are your initial thoughts on the episode? Did you dislike it?
I thought it was good. I thought it wasn't as good as the last two. I liked the look into Negan, his like, backstory a little bit. His, like, how he, like, worked with Father Gabriel. You saw a little more, like, he's not just a crazy guy with a bat, like with Father Gabriel, how he was talking to him in the trailer. But yeah, and you also get, like, that. I mean, I don't want to get too far into it, but overall, I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was good as the last two. I'll say that.
Yeah, it was different. I mean, they switched the point of view to kind of like at the beginning of this season, right? Mm-hmm. When Rick, like, shows up and they just start shooting guns at each other.
Yeah.
So they kind of flash back to a little bit before that when Negan's holding the meeting with his inner circle.
Yeah.
And then I think the cold open goes all the way up until, like, when Negan walks out, right, to meet Rick.
Yes, exactly. I thought that was cool. I thought that was really cool.
So, I mean, for me, I liked it. I think I have a different perspective because I know the Negan from the comics, who is just such he's just such a very all-around character, where we've really kind of only seen one side of him in the show. I mean, when you introduce someone and they're bashing a fan favorite's head in with a baseball bat.
Yes.
Like, I mean, even myself who knew him from the comics, I'm like, oh, this guy's an asshole. Like, he's a dick. But you can't, like, it would have taken away really any of the suspense in the future when it comes down to, because obviously this is all leading to Rick and Negan. And, like, it's gonna, like, if you just have him as this one-sided character, it's gonna, I think it takes away from the story.
Okay. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
So I'm kind of glad that they took some time to, give him a little bit of background, go into his backstory a little bit, because his backstory, I don't know if you want me to, they kind of alluded to it in the episode.
Yeah. Go for it.
So his backstory, his wife, was like dying during this outbreak, not from a zombie bite. I think she had cancer, and his wife's name was Lucille. So he was telling Father Gabriel this, like, he screwed around on her, he cheated on her, and he actually, I think his wife died and then this was when the outbreak was happening. So she came back as a walker.
Yeah.
And he couldn't kill her. And I think the wife ended up killing his daughter.
Oh.
As a walker, like in the hospital room, because he couldn't do it. And then that, like, obviously, rightfully changed him.
Yeah.
But they did a really good job of kind of like telling his backstory. And there was a line that I really, really enjoyed. And it kind of speaks to Negan's philosophy. And he says, you kill the right people at the right time in the wrongest way possible, and everything falls into place.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't just like want to kill just to kill.
Yeah.
He like, because and you know what? It's not just words to him either, because he doesn't kill Father Gabriel in this episode.
Yep.
He could have.
Yeah.
He hasn't killed Rick numerous times when he's had the chance to. But he killed Glenn and Abraham to prove a point that, look, I will kill if I have to, but he's not just going to kill to kill.
Yeah.
He's going to do it if it helps people fall into line. It didn't obviously work with Rick, because Rick is the biggest psychopath on the show, I think, more than Negan.
Yeah.
I mean, who does that to your friends? Like, if you're Rick's point of view,
Yeah.
and then you're like, no, we got to go back and take him out. It's like, well, maybe
just leave him alone.
Like, yeah, Negan wanted them to fall in line, and I'm not saying that Negan's a great guy, but he has his rules, he has his code that he lives by.
Yeah.
And I think this episode, more so than any other episode since he's been introduced, explain that.
Yeah, I think the line he says to Father Gabriel too is very indicative of like his philosophy as well. He says, "Yeah, I kill people, but I don't get them killed." Like Rick, he was talking about how he killed Glenn and Abraham. He was like, "Yeah, I killed them, but Rick got them killed." And I thought that was a great look and a great point. It's like, you know, well, I mean, I'm not gonna say a great point because he is still a crazy person, right? But it's like, it's true. I mean, he's not just going around willy nilly swinging the bat at people. He's, you know, doing it for a reason. He's doing, and then that was a cool little like why the people are called the saviors. It's because they save people. But you know, Rick didn't get it. He just didn't get it, and now he's But yeah, I thought the whole scene with Father Gabriel and Negan in the trailer was great. I thought that was awesome. I thought that was really well done, the way they were doing it. Because a lot of times those, like, they've done them a few times over, you know, a bunch of times over the entire show of The Walking Dead, where they have, like, a couple characters, like maybe 2 or 3 characters in a room, and they maybe hash out a backstory, or they go a little more in-depth at something that's going on. It's happened a few times. But I thought this one was one of the more, like, you know, better done scenes, and it also in this scene, Negan took away his, like, the way he talks. It's gone. He was like very just like monotone, like normal speaking, which I thought was good, because then it kind of like shows it, like when he's in front of his people, like at the end of the episode when he stands and everybody's kneeling before him down that hallway. That was a great shot, right? He's like, he brings that character back. He brings
it's very how top, but how Ezekiel is with his people.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So they're both playing a part, but they know that playing that part is very necessary.
Yeah.
And I like how Negan was explaining to Father Gabriel that, like, I'm a necessary evil. I'm a necessary guy for this world. And then they showed it, like, right away. When Negan wasn't there, the workers were doing an uprising and going crazy, and then boom, as soon as he shows up, everybody falls in line.
Right, exactly. I thought that was awesome.
That was really cool. And yeah, I'm glad you made that point about how he said that, like, Rick got Glenn and Abraham killed, and he really did. I mean, their whole strategy of going and killing all the saviors when they were sleeping and stuff, like, he really didn't give Negan a choice.
No, absolutely not.
But to make an example out of a couple people.
Yeah.
And then Rick and Daryl were also in this episode. The Negan Father Gabriel was like the big story. It was like the 1A story. And then you also had Rick and Daryl. Daryl's still a little out of his mind.
Yeah, still a little odd. I didn't particularly enjoy this section of the episode. I don't know about you. I just thought it was weird. It's like they were arguing, and then the truck blew up. Inexplicably, the truck just blew up. And then they were like kind of okay. Like Daryl kind of pulled Rick out of the way, like got him up and out of the way. I don't know. Well, what did you take from this, or like what did you get from it?
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like not as bad as the Jesus Morgan, fight was, where like, because obviously Rick still believes that, like, they're going to have to do some bad stuff to get things done, but he doesn't, he wants to keep the workers alive. Like, he doesn't want to just kill everyone, which I understand. And Daryl is just bloodlust. He just wants everybody dead. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, I really don't find it necessary to keep having these, like, moral conflicts. I mean, we're too far in for the moral conflicts, and I think they can come up with better storylines. Especially, like, that was such a short, like, that wasn't even a major storyline for the episode. They just obviously needed it to fill a little bit of time. Like, why? Yeah. Why are they still not on the same page? Like, I mean, I understand that they may be trying to teeter Daryl over the edge. Yeah. And he's just, I mean, he's clearly gone way downhill since he's kind of seen his old holding cage with the Saviors. He's just kind of on a mission of murder. Yep. But I don't know. I mean, it was definitely my least enjoyable part of the episode. But I'm kind of sick of the moral conflicts between everybody. I think they can come up with a better storyline than that.
So clear this up for me, if you know. So Rick is continuing on to do the next step of the plan. Did Daryl bail on him, or did Daryl just go to do like his part in it?
I don't know.
Right, because Rick is clearly moving on to the next step of whatever plan they have. But Daryl seemed conflicted because Daryl wanted to go back to the compound and start shooting the place up.
Right, and just killing everybody he could.
Yeah, so I don't know what's happening. Maybe Daryl's going back to the settlement, and now Rick's going on foot, which is probably not the best idea.
Nope.
Not the best idea. And then, one of the more interesting parts of the episode, Rick sees a helicopter. Or we think he sees a helicopter. Right?
That's what it did. Certainly looked like it.
Yeah, I mean, on screen we saw a helicopter. Whether that was something that like appeared in Rick's mind or not, I guess is yet to be determined. But what are the implications of seeing a helicopter like that have for this? You know what I mean? Like, what if one of these episodes, or like maybe the season finale, like all of a sudden like military show up to like their area, and it's like all this time like these people have been living like savages, killing each other, right? And then actually like the outside world is like getting back together and back on its feet. You know what I mean? It's like Rick and Negan both instantly look like bad guys. Like they are bad guys. Yeah. It's an odd thing to think of. It's like, and do you think that like flashes through Rick's mind? It's like, is it worth all this fighting, or should we just wait it out and maybe see what comes?
Like, you think they still think there's light at the end of...
I don't know. And then maybe like if Rick sees that, like if there's someone flying a helicopter, there's more than likely like maybe they're looking for survivors, maybe they're, who knows, right? But I bet you a bunch of scenarios rolled through Rick's mind, and this is I'm gonna connect it to Breaking Bad right now because it's fresh in my mind. It's like the end of Breaking Bad, and if you haven't seen Breaking Bad, turn this off now. I'm gonna spoil it. But like at the end of it, when Walter sees Skyler for the last time, he is going through like his normal routine. He was like, and I just want to let you know, like everything I did, and you think he's gonna go back to the, I did it for my family, but he admits he like did it for himself. And it's like, is there a little part of Rick that doesn't want the world to go back to the way it was? Is there a little part of Rick that kind of like needs like this, the fighting and the, you know what I mean? Like just needs that like, well, I mean, the aggression and everything.
Yeah, because there's definitely people who thrive in the world, and there's people who are made for normal life.
Yeah,
and I think Rick is one of those people who thrives in this world. So you might be right, and like, when's the last time we even saw a helicopter? That's the only thing that I'm trying to think of. I mean, but Rick didn't seem that. It was just kind of like, oh, Like, I don't know. He didn't have like a shocked.
Yeah, he didn't try and flag it down, like nothing. Like if you're someone looking for, and I guess like this also goes back to like he's all like in this world, you're always on the defense, or you're always like on the offense and the defense. Like you're always very wary of everything around you. You know, if you don't know people, you can't trust them. So maybe he's like not trustworthy of people in the helicopter, but he clearly didn't try and get their attention at all. You know, it's like he's just like, I'm living my world. Like the next part of the plan, like the person in the helicopter does not, that does not concern me one bit. So I thought that was odd, and I think hopefully maybe more of that comes in the next couple episodes. But I could see this being like a little teaser, and then maybe coming back to it like next season. You know?
Yeah, and well, 'cause he's heading towards the trash people, right?
Oh, is that where he's headed?
That's like the scenes from this episode that's starting soon. Like after last week, he goes towards them, and I think that was like the last play thing he was talking about. I think, but like, how could you? I mean, that's dangerous. Like, they've already sold you out once.
Yeah, it's very dangerous. He has to be I mean, I don't know what his plan could possibly be, but he has to, like, anything short of killing all those people. He's not gonna. He can't possibly help his situation. They fucked him over. Totally fucked him over.
Right.
Yeah.
So why go back? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'll probably watch it though while I'm editing this, so we'll know. I'll know. We'll have to chat about it. Was there anything else from this episode
I did
picked out?
because they're still going. Well, a couple things. There was the Eugene Dwight thing where it looks like Eugene might know that Dwight is the mole. And they had that, when he went in and he went to the chess pieces that Dwight made.
Yeah.
And Eugene went to touch them, and Dwight said, no, they're still drying. And then when they came in and dropped the bag on the table, there was like a little bit of like the red paint from the chess pieces.
Yeah.
And that was like the bag they found that had like all the notes and stuff, basically just saying like it was like whoever the mole is, that's his or her bag. And I think Eugene noticed that.
Oh, definitely. That
red paint. So, and Eugene's a smart guy, even though he's a douchebag.
Yeah, totally douchebag. Now, do you think he's going to fuck Dwight over?
See, I've been waiting for the other shoe to drop with Eugene and for him to like do the right thing, and he hasn't. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, he could. Like, why? Especially with Negan basically threatening his life.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure if Eugene is content and happy with working with the Saviors now completely, or if he's still like waiting for the right opportunity to help his former crew. I don't know.
I know he's definitely still scared of Negan, and Negan basically said, if you don't find out who's helping them, then I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. I don't know.
And then the only other thing too is like, what happened with Father Gabriel?
Yeah, I mean, I guess they put him in lockup, right? And then he had was he having like a panic attack or like I don't know?
Because it looked like he had like the fever, like he looked pale and the fever that you get from like a walker bite.
Yeah,
but I cannot imagine they would do like an off-screen walker bite.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like have him get bit and not show it.
And then not reveal it. Yeah.
Right. And then how would it set in that quick? A cool thing I read online, a cool theory. If you remember from the previous episode when Ezekiel and like Shiva died, like those zombies had like the radiation and like the barrels and everything.
Yes.
So I read a theory online that Father Gabriel, by putting all the zombie guts on him, like those zombies could have been like had radiation poisoning.
Oh, that's a very good point.
Bit, but then again, like if that happens, then how the hell are you going to do that to him and not Negan when they put the same on him?
Yeah, and they both were wearing jackets. Like Negan had a leather jacket on, and Father Gabriel zipped up his regular jacket all the way to the top. So, yeah, it would be tough to give it to Gabriel and not to Negan. That would be tough.
But so you want me to go over something in the comics?
Yeah, go for it.
With you, it's not necessarily spoiled. So in the comics, during this all-out war, like with Rick and Negan gets the idea to, like, with Lucille and any like knives, weapons they have, to rub like the zombie guts on the weapons. So that way, even if they don't kill Rick or one of his people, they'll still get like infected.
Oh.
So the theory online is that if Father Gabriel like dies just from like the zombie guts, then maybe like that'll be the thing that sparks Negan in the show to employ that strategy.
Yeah.
But the only thing is like there's too many people who have used the zombie guts, just like regular zombie guts, and haven't gotten sick.
Yeah.
So they kind of be going against a lot of different things.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it could be. Maybe it's even as simple as like Father Gabriel had an open wound that got infected with. You know what I mean? Like something like that. Like I could see them going backdoor like that. Like maybe they don't show a zombie bite off screen, but maybe there's something else going on with Father Gabriel. They give him a little more examination.
Right.
So,
but I'm assuming that hopefully we find out in this episode coming up.
Yes, I'm hoping so as well. So this week we're going to go back to our regularly scheduled podcast schedule, I guess. We'll talk about Walking Dead coming up. We'll do people watching. Hopefully we'll get a People versus the Internet this week. I have a feeling we might. That just has been happening too rapidly. And we'll do a what are we watching and all that stuff. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I don't think so. I'm excited to watch the episode tonight, and I think it's going to be good. It's moving along.
Awesome. Yeah, me too. I think so too. It's been a good season. I think it's been good. I'll say it's been good. I hopefully it ends on a high note, and not like last season, kind of like on a down note.
We've only got 3 more left before the break.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Going by so fast. Have you watched any of Mr. Robot?
No, not yet.
So I got to watch that as well because we'll have to cover that as well in one podcast episode coming up. Because I haven't watched any of season 3. You're all caught up, right? Besides season 3.
Yeah, I like to binge it. Like I binged season 2 and I really liked it. So I think I might do that. Like I'll wait a couple weeks and binge it.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to throw that into the schedule for reviewing because that's just such a awesome show.
Yeah. And like we said last episode, I think we're getting to the end of the year, and then we're going to get into awards season. It's a very good time of year to be a fan of the Average Nobodies because that's when Ryan and I shine. Honestly, this is it. It's going to be coming up on a year that we've been doing this podcast for a week, like weekly, like regularly. Like this is crazy.
I'm just so glad we're back into like a regular rotation.
Yeah.
It's podcasts are obviously, becoming or are a big thing. So I'm glad we can throw our names in the ring and hopefully people are enjoying what we're putting out there.
Yeah. And if you are enjoying what we're putting out there, you can leave us a review on iTunes. Just search Average Nobodies and leave us a review. Or you can call into the show and leave us a voicemail. That's 401-285-8120. Leave us a voicemail. We'll play it on the show. If you have a question, comment, observation for us, we'll play it on the show and we'll answer it to the best of our abilities. If you want to know anything else about what we do, go to AverageNobodies.com. That's where all of our content lives, all of our podcasts. You can get to all of our videos that way. You can get to all of our written blogs that way. So go check out that stuff there. And I think that's going to do it for the podcast today. I think that's it.
Matt, always a pleasure.
Always, Ryan. And we will talk to you guys soon. Ryan, adios.
Have a good one.